hello everyone, and happy crafternoon. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Gosh, it feels like it's been forever. I think the last time I was live was like 2 Tuesdays ago. It is so good to be back. We were supposed to be live on Tuesday, but we had a massive snowstorm coming through the area, and all the school districts closed, and it was a mess in our area. So we didn't get to come in, and now finally we get to be back together again. So thank you guys so much for being here and showing up. It is great to see all of you. Today we're going to have a little bit of fun because I'm going to be doing an emboss resist type of video today. I'm going to show you a bunch of different techniques, and then hopefully I'll have time to turn one of them into a card. But I want to show you a bunch of different ways that you can do this and how you can emboss in any color you love. It's something that I do a lot, and it allows me to take all of my different colors of embossing with me wherever I go, and I think you're going to like it. But before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Happy crafternoon.
Doesn't it feel like it's been forever?
We are in the throes.
We are
in the throes of winter.
Definitely.
And kind of like need to just go with the flow, right?
Yeah, that's all you can do. You just never know what's going to happen. We're supposed to get another huge storm starting in the middle of the night all day tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll tell you what. Our team has been troopers. They've been really working hard to get everything out before our next release, which reminds me, Tom, did you know we're having a release next Tuesday?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
I'm so excited.
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday night, 7
All right.
p.m. So hopefully no snow. I might just live here if there's going to be snow, just
I'll
to make
start
sure.
taking vitamins.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, and you're going to be back later, maybe with a word. Do you have a word of the day?
I'll be back.
Okay, all right, good. That's good. And also, I wanted you guys to know if you're new here and this is your first time at one of our lives, we always give away something at the end of the live, and lately we've been giving away gift cards to Gina K Designs, to our online store. So all you have to do to enter is just drop a comment, say hello, ask a question. We're just kind of go through and just randomly choose a person that's made a comment during the live. And we have people coming in from, I see Facebook, I see our Facebook page, I see our Facebook group, I see Twitch, and I see YouTube. So welcome everybody. All right, well, let's get started. So I'm going to be using some older stamp sets today, ones that I'm sure a lot of you have in your collection. These were part of past kits, and so I know that lots of you have these. I thought I would use this one. This is Flowing Florals. Let me get a piece of white cardstock here so you can see it a little better. The Flowing Floral set. For this technique, you want to use a little bit more of a solid type of stamp. So I'm going to be using this one, and then this one, which is out of stock but on the way, Holiday Tapestry. And I know, like, really, literally, probably 100,000 people have this stamp set. So I like to pull out the oldies. Oh, welcome, Lydia, first-time watcher. It's great to see you, or first-time live. That's awesome. I like to use stamps over and over again. You guys see me do that a lot, especially in between releases when we've sold out of a kit and we have a few videos to go before the next kit. I love to pull out some of my old favorites. And I think that's good for you guys too, because then you can see what I'm doing today and you can grab these because they're already in your stamp room. Let's start with the Flowing Floral set. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece of cardstock down to the same size as our Master Layouts 2. So if you have Master Layouts 2, you certainly can use that instead. But I'm going to cut it because for this one, I don't think I want the stitching. So it's really up to you. If you want the stitching, you can use the Master Layouts 2 die set to cut these panels, but if not, you can cut them with your paper cutter. Now I'm going to cut this down to 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 of an inch. So that's going to be my first technique that I'm going to show you today with this piece of cardstock. So in order to do this technique, you are going to need some sort of stamping platform. And you know what? Somebody just gifted me something. I don't know who sent it either because there wasn't a note. So if it was you, I want to say thank you very, very much for the wonderful gift. They sent me the new Sizzix stamping platform. It's like a stencil platform. And so I thought maybe in one of my videos I would give it a try and see how it goes. So I hope you guys will tune in for that. It looks pretty cool. Similar to a Misty, but it does stencils, which I think is really cool, where you can attach stencils in there, especially layering stencils. So I'm going to be checking that out, and I appreciate whoever sent that to me. All right, now I'm going to take this piece of cardstock and I'm going to put it up here in the top corner of my platform, and I'm going to just hold it down with a magnet. Now, in the beginning, I talked to you about having embossing powder in every single color that you love. And the easiest way to do that is by having one jar of clear embossing powder. This is the Gina K Designs Fine Detail Clear Embossing Powder. And I love this powder, and I love doing this technique. So I'm going to start with this flowing floral down here, and I'm going to put it right here on the end. I also love this technique. I did a video called Flip It and Go, and I use this same technique. It's such a great, fast way to mass produce beautiful cards. So as long as this piece of cardstock is stuck up here in the corner, you can do this. Now I'm going to start with a light color. I'm going to use some sea glass for this, okay? So I'm going to ink this up real well with some sea glass ink. And I'm just reading the comments while I'm inking. Okay. And then I'm going to use my Chucky tool here just to get a little pressure on there. I'm going to ink it up again. I want to get a couple layers of ink on here to get it more solid. Let's see here. I know my shirt matches my card, or my technique here. Let's make sure that's right in the right spot. I'm going to ink it up again. These lighter colors, you definitely have to ink a couple of times to get them nice and solid, but that's okay. With the Misty, that's not a problem. And then what's nice about it is if you want it a little bit lighter, you can do that.
So Linda wants to know, does embossing powder go bad? Does it break bad?
It can. Actually, it can. And we find that, I don't know why, I think what happens to it is it gets moisture in it, and then it doesn't emboss as well. So if you've had your embossing powder for like a year and a half, 2 years, and it's starting to not emboss properly for you, might be time to pick up a new jar. Now, one thing you could do is if you live in a very damp climate, you can take your embossing powder and put it in something that's more airtight. Or you can put a piece of press and seal or some kind of, doesn't have to be press and seal, it can be, you know, plastic wrap in between the jar and the lid. I recommend doing that even with things like pastes and stuff like that, because it really prevents the air from getting in. You would think that this is completely sealed because it's closed, but you'll notice when you get our embossing powder and you open it, there's a protective seal on there that you have to peel off. That's to make sure that it doesn't go bad, you know, when it's sitting in our warehouse. But once you take that off, you've broken the seal, so it can go bad. All right. Now I'm going to use some of the Gina K Designs Embossing and WaterMark Ink, and I am going to clean this stamp, but I'm not going to move the stamp. So we're leaving the stamp right here. And then I'm going to take some Gina K Designs Embossing and WaterMark Ink, and I am going to get my little dust bag here. This is the, my daughter Rena calls it a dust bag. It is actually the embossing magic pad, and I'm just going to rub that over there so that keeps the ink where I want it. And then I'm going to, keeps embossing powder off of the cardstock. I was reading comments and just words were coming out of my mouth and I didn't know what they were. So now I'm going to stamp over this again with that clear ink. Okay, and I want to make sure that this is back in the right spot again, and I'm going to do one more layer to get it nice and thick. Okay. Now that I've got that embossing ink on there, I can take some of this clear embossing powder, Yeah, my videos go up at lunchtime, and I think a lot of people watch during lunch. I mean, we've got a lot of people here right now, and I think that just happens because of the time of day that I do this video. So, sometimes in your area, a lot of people might be using bandwidth in your area, and that could possibly be why the video is stopping near you. But we're having no problem with our stream here because we can monitor it now, and it's pretty smooth. Okay, so now I am heating up my heat tool, and I am going to heat this embossing powder. I put the clear powder on top, and now I just made myself some beautiful sea glass embossing powder because I've got all the shine from the clear and all the color from the ink, which I just love this technique. It gives you that beautiful raised shine, and you can pick any single ink pad in your collection, and now you have embossing powder. Faux embossing powder, but embossing nonetheless. So let's see if we can pick up that shine. Can you see the shine in that?
Oh, yeah.
So isn't that fun and so easy? Now, what I love about this technique is we can do emboss resist over this, and we can create a beautiful two-tone look. So let's go ahead and do the flip it part that I was talking about. Normally I would do, let's just put this aside. Let's just do a whole new one with the flip it and go technique because it's going to be easier that way, and I can show you something else fun that you can do. All right, so we're going to cut another panel to the same size, 3.5 by 4 3/4. All right, now I'm going to put my piece of cardstock up here in the corner. Let me close up my embossing powder because you know that's going on the floor. Now I'm going to clean the Embossing and WaterMark ink off of here. And I'm going to pick a couple of ink cubes. So let me grab my ink cubes here. And I'm going to do this. This is my little storage tray from Organize More. I'm going to use sea glass again. Then I think I'm going to use some Applemint. And I might use maybe some bubble gum. That would be pretty. Is it going to be light enough? Maybe I'll use Lemon Drop. I haven't used Lemon Drop in forever. Those three colors would be really pretty together. Or I can use Lovely Lavender. Why don't I do that? I'll use Lovely Lavender. I love that blue, green, and purple combination in any, any depth. So I like Turquoise Sea, Lucky Clover, and Wild Lilac too. I just love those colors together. Okay, now when you're doing something like this, you do want to make sure that you go in the order of the color wheel. And I say that because we're going to do some overlapping on our stamping. So you don't want to have the green next to the purple because when you mix these two together, you're going to get brown. So you want to have green going into blue, which makes a nice blue-green in the middle. And you want to have this blue or turquoise, light color, going into this purple so you get more of a bluish purple in between. All right? So I'm going to start with the Applemint at the top of this stamp. I'm going to take that ink cube and I'm just going to ink over the top here, just a little bit like that. Okay? And I'm going to stamp that. All right. You always want to make sure that you secure your cardstock back up in that corner. I'm going to give that one more coat. Don't worry if you don't hit all the same spots, but we're just going to darken that up a little bit, like that. Then I'm going to clean that stamp off without moving it, and I'm going to go to my next color, which is Sea Glass. And I'm going to go into this area here that's missing, but I'm still going to go up into the old area. And that's going to create a really pretty blend. Okay, so you can see what's happening here. We'll do another one. Nice. Okay, now I'm going to clean the stamp again, and I'm going to go in with that lovely lavender. You could also use light lilac here, which is a very pretty color. But I'm going to use this one because I don't give this one enough love. And this is, let me just clean this stamp a little bit better. This is a really pretty, more of a red purple than a blue purple. Like Wild Lilac's more of a red purple and Wild Wisteria is more of a blue purple. So I don't use this one enough since our lilacs came out, and I want to give it a little bit of love here. It's very pale, so you want to definitely ink it a few times to get it a little deeper.
Question,
Yes.
are you stamping without the foam pad on your Misty?
No, it's a foam pad. I have the mouse pad. You see the foam? This is the Misty mouse pad, so it's cleanable. And that's why I like it, because just the black foam pad, you have to put a piece of paper down, or you could laminate one of those sheets that comes with it if you want. But that all shifts around, and this is just one thing altogether. So I hope that makes sense. You know what? I like this color, but I think I do want to try the light lilac on here. Just want to see what it looks like. So I got to get in here. It might be too blue. I don't know. I'm going to try a layer of that on top just to see what it looks like. I'm not getting the blend that I wanted out of this. So I think that's going to make a difference. Yes, that made a difference. Okay, so you see we've got the green going into the blue, going into the purple. Now I'm just going to clean that stamp. And then I'm going to go back over the entire thing, making sure that's in place, with Embossing and WaterMark ink. You know what? Before I do that, though, I wanted to show you the flip and go. So we're just going to flip, right? And we're going to do the same thing down here. So, and this is going to allow me to do a darker blend on top if I want to.
Question.
Yes.
Yorkie Lover wants to know, where can I find the color wheel for reference when I am working on a card?
So I have a bunch of color charts in our Facebook group, and I should be putting those on our website too, on our blog. So I will get working on that as well. But they are all right now in the files section on our Facebook group. That's Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. I have different color wheels for different seasons over there. Okay. So now I'm going to go in the middle here with the sea glass. You can get that foam pad at My Sweet Petunia's website. You can get it over at Simon Says Stamp and scrapbook.com. And check your local stores too, because a lot of them, if they carry the Misty, they probably carry the accessories that go along with it. All right, now to make this even, because I don't know what happened to this color when I added this on top, I'm going to do 2 layers of this first, just to make sure that the color is consistent. But I think it would have been fine if I had just used that. No, I don't let it dry at all. Our dye inks dry so quickly that they're pretty much already dry. Like, I can rub my fingers all over this and not have a problem. It's super fast drying ink. Okay, so we'll do that. I'll get 2 layers, and then I'll change my mind like I did. I have to do the whole thing to make it even. Okay, I think I should try light lilac. So now I'm going to try light lilac down here at the bottom. And we'll add that in. Definitely a great blend. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little bit of the Embossing Magic Pad, and also, you know, it's okay to like clean the Misty mouse pad before you move on to this, so that you're not, because when you rub this all over, you could pick up some of the ink on this pad. So I'm going to rub this all over and then get that back into position. Now what's nice about this is I can do all the embossing at the end rather than having to do one half and then the other half, because I just flipped the card. So it's going to line up perfectly, you know, either way. If I wanted to do one at a time, that would be fine, but this just makes it easier. So I'm using the Embossing and WaterMark pad again. You can use Versamark if you don't have our Gina K Designs Embossing and WaterMark pad. That works too. Just don't use a pigment ink on here like white, because it's going to lighten all of your ink colors and it's not going to go away. It's going to stay white. So definitely use a clear embossing ink. So I'm doing 2 layers of this to really get it nice and sticky. And then I'm going to carefully turn it. And I have to be careful where I place my magnet now. I got to put it in an empty spot. I know the tapestry stamp is beautiful. We'll do something with that too.
And where can they get those magnets?
My Sweet Petunia, or like I said, any of the places that carry My Sweet Petunia products. I think they do have bar magnets on Amazon. The only thing about the bar magnets on Amazon that I've experienced is they are actually thicker than this magnet, and you have to press a little harder on the door because it doesn't, you know, it kind of impedes the door a little bit. All right, I'm going to use my little thing here, my little tweezer, and then I am going to get, you know what, I have an old jar of this too. I want to see how the old jar works. This is when we had our old label. So this is about 2 years old. So we'll give it a try and we'll see how it works. I think it's going to work fine. But you know what? I'm going to use a clothespin for this. A wooden clothespin is easier. Yeah, this looks just fine, this powder. So I would say at least 2 years you should be able to get out of your embossing powder. I don't know, I use clear and white so often that I'm constantly going back and getting another jar. That's why I got this jar today, because I thought I didn't have enough left in here, so I just asked for a new jar.
So Sherry would like to know, what type of cloth are you using to clean the stand?
I am using the Gina K Designs Tidy Towel. It is the best cloth because it's damp, it's super soft. Look how thick it is. It's super thick, and it cleans your stamps beautifully and leaves no, like, little frays of anything behind, like a paper towel or something would. Okay. So now, okay, Jane has 20-year-old embossing powder that's still working great. So that's good. I do know that everybody doesn't have that same result, and I think a lot of it has to do with the humidity and where you live, and how well you protect your embossing powder too. So there's a lot of factors in there, but that's good to know. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna emboss this, and now we've got gradient embossing powder. Gives you that look of a gradient that you actually can't really do with them. Well, you can if you have different color embossing powders. You could lay some down and then emboss it and lay more down in different areas. But this, you get that beautiful ink blend where the colors blend together. And you know, Gina K Designs, we have a smoothing agent, so where they blend together, if you just give it a minute to completely dry, it looks super smooth. I just want to make sure I don't have any embossing that isn't completely melted. And look at how pretty that is. Can you see that shine in there? I don't know if they can. I think they can. Can you see that, Tom?
Yes.
Yeah. So isn't that pretty? I love that. And I love that you can have an embossing powder now in any color and any gradient that you want. And you're not limited to these kind of fades like this. And I'll show you something else in just a minute. But let's see what this looks like now when we do a resist on top. So like an ink blend on top, and we do it's like an emboss resist technique. So I'm thinking we've got to go with much darker colors. So let's try Tranquil Teal and let's see how that looks. And then we'll try that first. Oh no, my mitts are covering my inkstand. Here we go. Okay. So I have my inkstand here. And I'm going to find my teal blending brush. Here we go. And now I'm going to do some ink blending. So I think it's going to be a really cool look. All right, so I'm going to start down here. Okay, so remember that ink's going to pool on top a little bit, but when you rub the ink off, can you see how beautiful that looks? You get that color fade, that color blend into that embossed resist. I really like that. And we can do kind of a same type of fade as we did with the colors here. At least with purple. We can add some purple in there. We could also add some green, but let me start with the Tranquil Teal and just see how it goes. Yeah, the Tidy Towel, you can just throw it right in the wash, and as long as you don't put it in the dryer, I wash mine with hot water. I have a couple of them because, you know, when I'm doing a live, I don't really have time to go run to the sink. So I have a couple of them here just in case one gets too inky. And I just take them home and throw them in. Sometimes I throw them in with like my black leggings because I don't care if I get dye on them because you're not going to see them, you know. Isn't that pretty? I love that look. It's so pretty. Okay, hello from Twitch. Hey! It's great to see you. Twitch is interesting because it just goes live. It doesn't like give you a warning that it's going live. It just pops up. There's no like preview kind of screen. Okay, now I'm going to use a little bit of Lucky Clover, fresh asparagus. What should I use? I think Lucky Clover would be a better ink, but I'm not sure if I have that over here or not. Sorry, I wasn't really prepared because part of me, I start with a technique in mind, but then I really don't know what I'm going to do other than the technique. Like, I don't really have a plan.
Becky wants to know, do you stand or sit while you're doing your lives, but we can see you running around?
Oh, yeah. No, I stand. I always stand. I always stand when I craft anyway. I just feel like I'm so short. I'm only 5 feet tall, like 5 feet flat, you know? And so counters and everything feel high to me anyway. And when I sit, it's like my boobs are resting on the on the table. I thought I just put my boob in my ink pad. But it's easier for me to stand up and be able to like look down over the project. So, all right, so I'm going to add just a little bit of green in here. Oh, that's kind of pretty. I like that. What did I do with my paper towel? I like this. And then I think I'm going to go back in with a little bit of turquoise again, just to make the center area pop. Now you can kind of go back over and blend in a little more teal in there. See how that's just darkening that green a little bit? This is the Tranquil Teal. And then I'm going to go Tranquil Teal right across the center. And I just love how pretty that is, how you still get the embossed resist, but instead of just white, you get color now. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Tom, did you come on and make a face during that?
Possibly.
All right, let's get that brightened up a little bit. All right, so there is, so you've got all that shiny resist, and you've got those beautiful colors in there. And that green almost reflects a little bit of gold in there. It's just got such a vibrant look. And that's just Applemint. That doesn't look anything like Applemint once you get the embossing powder on there. It just deepens it up so much. Okay, so I want to show you something else. So now you don't have to limit yourself to these fades that I'm doing. Let me get another little piece of cardstock here. Just cut this one down to the same size just because that's the mode that I'm in. And now I'm going to use a solid flower here. Let's get rid of this. I don't even know if I cleaned this, but usually before I start the next video, I'll probably wash this one because, you know, I won't remember whether or not I cleaned it or not. But let's try this flower here. I don't think I cleaned this flower since last time. Let me get a different tidy towel because this one is very inky. Here's a cleaner one. I just want to clean the surface of this. Sorry, that's squeaky, I know. Okay, so now I'm going to get my paper back up here in the corner. I know you guys have a lot of these stamps. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to ink this up in a bright yellow. So let me find, I'm going to just move my ink cubes over here so I have access to them. So let's start with some wild dandelion here. Very, very bright, vibrant ink. And we'll get that inked up. That's nice. We'll do it again. Okay. Now, as long as everything is staying in the same position, we're good. Now I'm going to clean that. And then I'm going to use one of our jumbo sponge daubers. I like these because you can get a lot of texture in a design like this using a sponge dauber. I don't have good luck doing this exact technique using ink pads, but I do with daubers. So I'm going to use some sweet mango ink here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bunch of ink on that dauber. And then I am going to take this design and I'm going to just go around the perimeter like that. You're going to get a you're going to see the texture a little bit. You see how we've warmed that up? Sorry, I had shreds of something on my thing, but do you see the texture here? And do you see that, just that nice little bit of color? Let's do another one over here because I want to do more.
Amy's asking, would this work with oxides or other pigment dye-based combo inks?
You know, I think it probably would. You just might have to wait a little bit longer for everything to dry in between the layers. With dye ink, you can move so quickly because it dries so quickly. But I don't see why it wouldn't. Once you get the clear powder on there and, you know, you emboss it in clear, everything's going to dry and just be kind of all... It's not going to go anywhere at that point. So I think it would be fine. All right, let's try this with faded brick this time. I think this would be a really cool color to add a little bit of something around the perimeter so you could see it just a little bit better. I'm going to use that same sponge dauber. It's totally fine. And these daubers you can wash. So you could just like take it over to the sink, wash it with water, keep squishing it on the sink while you're washing it until the water runs clear. They'll stain, but you can definitely wash them. Okay, so now I'm just going to kind of go around the perimeter here.
And you use the tidy towel wet.
I use the tidy towel damp. Yes. So isn't that pretty? Look at that. I love how you can just add that little bit of detail around the outside. Now let's go even darker. Okay, let's go with like a brown. Let me see if I have a brown here that I can use, like warm cocoa. Warm cocoa would be a good one. So I'm going to do the same thing. I have another dauber here. I'm going to get some brown on there. And then I'm going to go, you can see I'm not even worrying about cleaning the stamp. I'm just going to go right on the very tips. See, I feel like with a dauber, you've got a little bit more control. I love that. It's so pretty. Then if you want, you know, you can always do the extra technique. I don't even know if I have any here. I think they might be hiding behind my bright space sign. They are. You could always use like a water-based marker. These are my Tombow markers that I've had forever. But you could always use a Tombow marker. It's a water-based marker, and do a little bit of spot coloring in the center here. Let me see if I can do that a little bit better. I will warn you though, if you spot color with Tombow markers, it is hard to get off your stamps. It doesn't bother the stamp. Once you wash the stamp or clean the stamp, it won't transfer the ink at all. Why don't we just put a little bit like this? See what I'm doing here? I'm coloring a little bit here. And I think I'm going to spritz it with some water to see what happens too. Why not? Let's get our little spritzy bottle here. Doesn't have any water in it. Well, it has a little. Not much though. Oh, I have this bottle of water. I think this came from a class. So I'm just going to spritz this with a little bit of water. Like that. And then I think I'm going to dry the petals around the outside, just so that the water effect is only going to be in the center. And let's see what it does. Ooh, that's pretty. That's very cool. I like that. Clean that with my tidy towel again. There we go. Now, once you've done a design like this, you can, I probably shouldn't have done the water thing, so let me do one more with a little piece of cardstock here, because you don't want it to be wet when you're going to heat emboss. But I'll do one more. I'll pick a different color combination this time. I'll do it with sea glass, and then we'll add a little Tranquil Teal around the perimeter. I hope that cardstock didn't move, but we'll see. And you can also do this same kind of technique with a background stamp. You can do all different colors of ink on your background stamp, and then you can come back with embossing powder and you can emboss it and make it look all shiny. Then you can do resist over it. So many fun ways to use it. And I know a lot of you have been asking about our background stamps and when they're coming back in stock. Great news. Our next release, like I told you, is going to be on next Tuesday night, and all of our background stamps are going to be in. So you'll get to pick a background stamp if you want, and we have 2 brand new backgrounds too, which is very exciting. So I'm going to go with the darker, the Tranquil Teal here, and I'm going to, again, use my sponge dauber, and you can just ink that up right on an ink cube too. You don't need to have the full-size pad. It is a little easier if you have the full-size pad, because you can really kind of take that dauber and dig into that ink pad and really get it inky. So, but you can do it with an ink cube too. All right, now I'm going to go just around the perimeter here. See how this looks. And that gives me that fade. And then I'm going to do one more color around the outside. And it's going to be like in the navy. So a nice really dark blue. And again, I'm going to use the same dauber. I don't care if I cross-contaminate a little bit here. But here we go with the in the navy. Oh, that's pretty. I like this one. You know, we all have our favorite colors, right? This is definitely one of mine. Okay, so now that I have cleaned that stamp, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a little bit of the embossing magic pad on there. And then I'm going to use the Gina K Designs Embossing and WaterMark Ink again. Got a lot of dust on my Misty. And I'm going to turn this into another type of gradient embossing powder. Get a second coat on there. now, where, pray tell, did I put my little card? Oh, here it is. I just have a little piece of cardstock here. I need to get this into one of my bins. You can also do this through stencils. So you can ink up and ink blend your stencils and then press embossing powder through the stencil and then go ahead and put your clear embossing powder on that. So that's another fun way. And I saw Jennifer did a premiere earlier, and I was over at her premiere, and she did a resist technique using paste, which looks really cool. And it's very similar to this. If you do it with embossing powder, though, you don't have any dry time. So that's another, just another option if you wanted to try that. Okay, so here we go. Here it comes. Look at how vibrant it gets when it starts to heat up. I might have to do something with this one. I might make a card today with this one. Okay, so let's just keep this in here. In fact, I'm going to put a different one in here because it's warped and I can emboss them all at the same time. I am going to do some leaves from this set. I'm going to do this leaf. And then I'll show you a fun blend. I wonder where my dies are for this. Oh, I don't have any idea. I don't know where my dies are. They're not here. They should be with the stamp set. So maybe I can't do this set. Unless, Tom, do you want to go see if Janelle has a set of flowing floral dies that I can have while I wrap this part up? Do you mind? I think she does, because I think I saw them on the website. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this flower. Tom's going to be my runner, and he's going to get me what I need. Okay, so I'm going to start with a lighter green. So I think I'm going to start with Jelly Bean Green. And I'm going to do all three of these leaves. I know that my picture is in the way, but you get the idea that I am just inking this up, right? I'm just inking it in the Jelly Bean Green. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to stamp that in Jelly Bean. Now I'm going to stamp it a couple times to give it some good color. Oh my God, I sound like my mom. Good color. My mom used to say that when I'd come back from the beach if I had a tan. Oh, you got good color. I want to get good color. Oh, man. Okay. I think I'll do one more little layer here of the Jelly Bean, and then I'm going to get an ink cube, and I think I'm just going to do a direct kind of inking with the ink cube. So let's move this over here so you can see that a little better. In fact, let me put a little white cardstock under there so you can see it happen even better. So you should be able to see these stamps now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this fresh asparagus ink cube, and I'll start with just these leaves. I'm going to just do like a little bit of shading down the side. You see how I just added it just down the side? And now I'm going to stamp that. See, now I've got that depth in there, that beautiful depth. Did she have one? Oh, she did. Thank you. Now I'm going to do the same thing. You know, I just kind of went around the perimeter and added a little bit more color there. So you can see that it's just got more interest. But those colors are going to pop so much more when we actually put the embossing on top. That was my ink cube lid. So these stamps just need a good scrubbing. That's what they need. Thank you, hun. I appreciate it. Okay, so now I'm back to the Embossing and WaterMark ink. And I am going to, the mess I have here, I'm going to tap this with the embossing magic pad just to make sure I don't get any anything where I don't want it, although it doesn't really matter that much because I am going to be cutting it out. Okay. There we go. That's one. I am so grateful that all of you are here. I just want to say that. Thank you guys so much for being here. There's a lot of you here. And I really appreciate that. I know it's not easy to get away on a work day, but I sure did miss you. We did, didn't we, Tom? We were sitting at home looking out the window saying, oh, we could be with everybody right now. All right, and I'm using that clear powder on top again. There we go. And wait till you see how gorgeous and vibrant this comes up. It just takes the colors to the next level, too, when you add that bit of shine. Okay. I'm glad you're taking a break with me. You know, I might have needed this die set anyway. I feel like these were the dies that I threw away by accident. I know, I don't want to remember that, but it's true. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. Look at that shine. Isn't that pretty? And it's so much more vibrant. The colors are just so much more vibrant. All right. We're going to do one more thing. And then we're going to do a quick flip and make the card. All right, now what I'm going to do is I want to do this one here. And that's what it looks like. So what I'm going to do, let me get rid of these. This is a great way to lose stamps, just tossing them aside, but you know. So I'm going to put this here. And then I'm going to get that back in that position. Now I'm going to take a little Post-it note, excuse my reach. Take a tiny Post-it note, and I'm just going to block off that part. In fact, I could even tear this down. I'm just going to block off that part of the flower right there. Okay? And I'm going to start with a little bit of sea glass ink.
How about a quick word of the day?
Oh, sounds like a good idea. I should have moved that, but it's okay. I should have taken that off. Yes, that sounds like a great idea. Word of the day. But you can get rid of my screen. Is that possible? So they can see me ink while you do the word of the day?
Okay, quick word of the day. Quick word of the day. Had my mic down. Okay, so has to do with traveling. When you're finished your flight, and you're on your way to the baggage carousel, and you're hoping to get out of there quickly, and it doesn't happen. So it takes some time for them to get to your bag. That would be sluggage. Sluggish luggage is sluggage. Word of the day for all you travelers out there.
Oh my God.
In wintertime.
Sluggage. Oh. Well, you can see I'm just tipping that very, very lightly on the tips just to get that darkest blue in there. Now, you can see I did all my little... Now I'm just going to do the bottom part of this. Oh, that's funny, Tom. Sluggage. We've had that. Takes forever.
Who hasn't had sluggage?
All of us have had sluggage. I do too. You see that comment? Feels like sluggage in the cold weather. Same girl, same. All right, so we're going to do Jelly Bean down here. See, I just masked off in a very kind of quick and easy way the bottom of this to give me that separation of color. I'm going to do that one more time. Pull that off. And then I'm just going to add a tiny bit of fresh asparagus down near the bottom, so I don't even have to mask this time. Just going to do a little bit right down here. This is fresh asparagus, right? Yeah. Just a tiny bit. You probably aren't even going to see it, but maybe if you look close. Oh yeah, you can see it. So can you see what I did there? The cardstock is 80-pound layering weight cardstock. All right, just wanted to add this flower in there because I think it'll make a pretty layout for a card. All right, we're gonna do one quick flip and go card back with the flowing florals. And we'll get a little embossing on there. And then we'll whip this card together so quickly. Okay, 3.5 by 4 3/4. Alrighty. This is going to go up in the top. I'm going to get my flowing floral again. And that's going to go down here like that. Okay. I'm going to flip it over because the cardstock seems to just want to bend this way a little bit. Now we're going to use those same colors that are in the flowers. So we're going to use Jelly Bean and Sea Glass. So I'll do Jelly Bean here. Like that. Get a little more Jelly Bean on there. Don't think I cleaned the the Gina K Embossing and WaterMark ink off of this, which is fine. It's not going to hurt it. It's just makes it was probably dried on there, so it's making it not quite as crisp, but that's okay. Just do a couple more coats of it. All right, now we're going to do the sea glass coming up from the bottom. And I know I didn't clean my stamp. It's okay. I do a lot of mixing and I don't worry that much about cross-contamination. I do stuff like that all the time. It's probably because I'm a little bit lazy. But I don't think it really makes that much of a difference. It's not really contaminated, my pads. Might get a little color just on the surface, but then, you know, your next direct technique, you could just dab it off a little bit on cardstock and it'll be fine. Okay, so there we've got that nice inking. We're gonna flip it and go. Back to Jelly Bean. I hope this is Jelly Bean. Yes, it is. I have too many ink cubes open here. Okay. Ooh, you can see my sea glass coming in from the last stamping where I didn't clean it. But you know, if you're not under the gun like I am right now, as far as, you know, trying to stay within an hour, for those of you who join me on your lunch hour and stuff, if you're not kind of doing that, you could take your time and you could clean the stamp in between. I did have a little double stamping there because I didn't shift my cardstock back in, but I think it's gonna look okay. We'll do all of our greeting and stuff. Well, I think I'm gonna use a die cut for that. I think it'll be fine. This down here is nice and crisp, and that's probably the part you're going to see the most after I do put a die cut on top. All right, now that's so pretty. I just like that green and blue combination together. I also love blue and purple together. They look so nice. So I'm going to clean this stamp, again with the tidy towel. And then I am going to find my Embossing and WaterMark ink. Just dab this on top. And we're going to make our background match those images by being embossed as well. Now, if you don't want to do this embossing part for the background, that's totally fine, because you might want it to be a little more subtle in the background and have all of your shiny focal part on the flowers and the leaves, but I think it's going to be a nice blend together. I'm going to do 2 coats on each side. flip it and go. Yeah, the Tidy Towel is a really great thing, and you know, I have a couple of them. I know a lot of you stock up on them when we have sales and stuff, like our Black Friday sale. Some of you bought several of them. It is nice if you have a couple of them, but one, all you have to do is rinse it in the sink when you're done. Or if you really want it super clean, just throw it in your wash. I actually wash mine on hot with, you know, Tide detergent. Okay, so now we're going to put that embossing powder all over this.
Maxine wants to know if you can speak Italian.
I cannot. A little bit. Very little.
And Angela's asking, can you actually oversaturate the paper with alcohol inks when layering?
I guess you can. If your paper's kind of thin, you can. I think there's certain papers that work better with alcohol inks than others. Like Yupo paper, those shiny papers, less porous, work better with alcohol inks. So you might want to try that, because with alcohol ink, you want to do all of those layers, but you want the ink to just kind of rest on the top of the paper so it can move and flow. If you use a porous paper like our cardstock is, it's just going to seep down into the cardstock and you're not going to get that movement. So I would definitely try, like Tim Holtz Yupo paper is excellent for alcohol inks. All right, we're getting there. I really like this. Oh, that's so pretty. Beautiful, very shiny. I gotta catch the shine. There it is. Look at that shine. Okay. So now we've got these to cut out, and we need to pick a greeting. So I think I'm gonna use a circle die cut. Let's see if I have any pre-cut, which would be great. Just gonna peek in my drawer here. I might. Well, I have one. I don't know if I have a black piece, but let me just push all this out of the way and we'll get the die cutting machine up. Okay, so let's back out just a little bit, but I don't want you to see the mess. Oh boy, is it a mess. Seriously, do you want to see the mess? Because this is the mess, all right? I'm going way back here. This is the mess. That is the mess. Okay, that's a behind the scenes look right there. Okay. I hope that made somebody feel better, because that's what my life is like every single day that I'm crafting. All right, I'm going to cut out a few things here. I'm going to cut... Thank you, Tom, for getting these dies for me. Right? What a mess. Well, the good thing is you're all making comments, which means you're all eligible to win that gift certificate today. And we're almost done. This part will go pretty quick. So I'm going to put this all on my cutting mat, and I am going to use a little bit of Masking Magic just to hold everything down. So I have our Masking Magic strips here. This is the best tape ever for die cutting, because it will never tear your paper, ever. But it holds everything down really nicely. So let's get all these in place. Try to do these all in one big motion.
Okay, 2 quick questions. How long should the Tidy Towel be expected to last, and can you throw it in the washer?
You could definitely throw it in the washer. I throw mine in all the time.
By itself or with other stuff?
I've done it with my leggings, my black leggings. But, you know, if you're worried about getting ink, or you use a pigment ink, then don't mix it with your clothes. I use mostly dye ink, so I don't worry about it. But, I mean, it depends. The problem is some people have kind of ruined their tidy towel because they've used it too dry. And if you use it too dry, it can shred a little bit. So you don't want to use it too dry. But if I have had the same ones for, oh gosh, probably since we got our new and improved tidy towels, which has been quite a while, maybe a year and a half. And I've been using the same ones, and they should last a long time. All right, so I just cut these pieces out. Ooh, this one is so pretty. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, everything's fallen. I'll show you in a minute. Let me get these out of here, and then we got to cut that other flower, the big flower. See, and this is where you have to be careful, because I threw these dies out one time, still attached to the paper. I just was cleaning up too fast, moving too fast, and it can happen. So always take your dies off right away. And I have a cute little bowl that somebody sent me, and I think you can get them on Amazon. It's a magnetic bowl, and you can just throw your dies in the bowl just to get them away from the potential of being thrown away.
So Linda wants to know if we've ever switched places and had me make a card and you run the camera. Could be fun.
Yes, we have. There is a video of Tom making a card. Do you remember what technique you were doing, Tom?
Well, there were a couple cards. A couple times we did that, right?
Yeah. But I was with you some of the times, but one time recently, since we've been in this studio, you actually jumped back here and made a card, and I worked in the dead space.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I blacked out or something. I don't know.
You blacked out on that one? All right, I'm going to cut a quick circle here. Flip my cutting mat over. Yes, you need a magnetic bowl. You could check out Amazon, because that's where I think I have a whole bunch of my dies in here. I even have a bag of dies in here, but you can see, I mean, it's a magnetic parts tray. See how they stick in there?
Been looking for that.
No, somebody gave that to me. Did I already cut
And you
this?
put the wet tidy towel, you just keep it in like a plastic container while you're working, right?
I do. I keep mine just in this little plastic Ziploc. And they do get a little smelly if you're not using them every day. So that's when I'll just take them home and I'll throw them in the wash. And then they come out fresh and clean.
But when you're working, do you set it down on top of something to...
Oh yeah, it's just sitting off to the side here, right on my tabletop.
Okay.
I don't have any special place for it. All right, now I'm going to stamp a greeting here on this circle. So I'm going to put a little tape. I know we're going over just a little bit. Sorry about that. Put a little tape on the back here just to keep that in place. And then I thought I would use the All About You stamp set. I know you guys have this one, and you know mine is well loved because I've used it so many times that it's actually totally stained. But I think I'm gonna do You Mean the World to Me. And I'm going to put it a little bit off center, so it's a little bit more on this side, because I am going to wrap these flowers kind of around it. So this is a good greeting because of the way it's curved in. So I'm going to stamp this in black. Oh, where is black ink on this mess? Here it is. You saw what it looked like. I'm not showing it again. I'm embarrassed. Too embarrassed to show it again. Stamp it once, and we'll stamp it twice. I think it's going to be a pretty card. This will go pretty fast now. And I think I'd like to use maybe a Tranquil Teal card base for this one too. Kind of planning it out already. So I love this little All About You stamp set. Such a good one. Again, I'm pulling stuff out of the vault here, but I mean, one thing I can tell you that if you get any of my kits, I keep going back to them. I just love to reuse the old stuff. All right, so there we go. I've layered those two together. That is the double stitch circle and the single stitch circle set. I use them both together. So now we'll wrap this card up by cutting a piece of black cardstock. Let's see, is this one already cut to fit? Nope, but I can cut it. We're going to cut this to 3 5/8. You can use Master Layouts 2 for this if you want. 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. And that should be the perfect size right there. You know me, have to have a little black in every card because it's so pretty. It makes everything pop. It makes everything look so much more vibrant. And we'll get this down. And remember, you know, when you heat emboss, sometimes your cards get a little warpy. So if you need to add a little bit of extra tape, like close to the perimeter, that's totally fine to do. Some people like to use like Connect glue, and that's totally fine too. Just use a thin coat and just try to get it close to the edge. It'll prevent that warpy look. Now let's just take a look at this Tranquil Teal. I think that's going to be a really pretty color up against that. I should have something here so that you can see it better. But I think that's going to be a good one. Although, I will take one quick look at Sea Glass because Sea Glass is pretty too. But you know, this is all Sea Glass, right? There's no layered color in there with Tranquil Teal. So I feel like by doing the Tranquil Teal, we get a little bit of that color in there too. And that'll probably pull that Tranquil Teal out a little bit from the flowers. All right. I need my score buddy. I actually have another score buddy. I have 2 score buddies out right now. That's how messy things are. I'm not even looking on the desk anymore for where things are. I'm just grabbing a second one. All right, that scored. And if you're new, my card bases, I do tend to do a lot of tent fold, which is this style, as opposed to book fold, which is this style. And that's just because they photograph really nicely sitting up. Let's zoom in a little bit. All right, so this is going to go right on to my card. Like that. Yes, yes. And then I'm going to put that right in the center there, so like those vines just kind of wrap around it. And I will use some foam squares because you can never get enough dimension on your cards. You can use foam tape for this as well. Also, you could layer up a couple of the circles together if you don't want to use the foam, but you're not going to get the same amount of dimension if you do that. So, you know, the foam squares will work really nicely too. Okay, we'll get that right in the middle. Make sure my words are straight. Is that in the middle? I don't think it is. I think I need to be able to look down on it a little bit more. I never pat it down until I'm sure I like it. Does that look pretty centered? You know, I might want to go a little up, a little north of center, just a little bit, because my flowers are going to cascade down. So I'm going to go a little north of center. Like that. I think that's going to be better. Of course, it'd be nice if the circle was not crooked. There we go. You mean the world to me. Okay. So now I'm going to lay this flower. I'm going to tuck that flower in there. This one is going to come off of here like that. And then this is going to kind of cascade over this way. And then I'll add these 2 little leaves. I might trim that down a little bit. That's a lot going on. These 2 little leaves will come kind of off the side here like that. Okay. So let's go ahead and start with, I think I'm going to pop up this flower. Let's do that. We'll pop up the flower and we'll tuck it in there so that, see how it kind of like slips in between those letters like that. Okay. Then we'll also pop this one up. It's going to be a big foam square. Let me get the small foam squares. I don't mind going over because I feel like we missed Tuesday. So I'm using a small foam square for this one. And I'm just going to tuck it right in here like that. Get it down, just hide it a little bit behind that flower. Okay. Then this, I feel like there's a ton going on here, and I don't feel like I need quite this much. And I could really kind of tuck it up there, but I think I'm going to trim it. I know it's scary, but I'm going to trim it. Like that. And then I'm going to just slip that under there. I feel like that's enough. It was like too big, you know? So I'm going to just tape this part right under there. So that's kind of draping out. It can be free. If you're worried about it being free, you could always put foam squares under there to hold it down, but I'm not worried about mine. And then I'm going to add these two. I think I'll add them up in this little area right here. So I'm going to go back to back with them like that. And then I'll slide them right in here. Like that. Maybe I'll bring them down. Oops. Well, where are my tweezers? Where did I put my tweezers? Oh, here they are. I'll grab that. I think we'll go right about there. There we go. Now, I think the center of this needs something. And I think I'm going to use one of these mermaid scale sequins. I think that they would be like the perfect sequin. I don't know why I'm using tweezers. How about using a jewel picker to pick the jewel? All right, so I'm going to put a little Connect glue right here in the center. And then I'm going to do a big one. So I do have to take a couple out so I can grab it with my jewel picker. I think this will be a nice blue-green look. Yes. Yes, yes. And we could put a couple of those, like, you know, in and around. Ooh. Yes. We'll do one here. One here. One here. One here. Here. And here. I know it's not all of them, but it's enough. And it still leaves me with an odd number, which I kind of like. And it gives me a little more sparkle in other places on this card. I have to pull a few more of these out to get the tinies. Alrighty, almost done. One doesn't want to stay. So what do you think? Do you like this technique? Do you think you guys will try it? Adding that little clear embossing powder, it just makes the colors more vibrant, and it allows you to, I don't know, I think like sometimes you just want that embossed word or something, and you can just, you don't have black embossing powder. Actually, it's really nice to do this with black ink because you don't get black specks anywhere. Okay, so I think that's it. I think that card is done. And see all the shine? I'm trying to really catch the shine.
That's a bit better than horrible.
You think? All right, well, there we go. Let's move this stuff out of the way. All right, Tom, let's give away a gift certificate.
Okay, gift certificate. Drum roll, please.
All right, get ready.
Here it comes. And the winner today for the gifts, Gina K gift certificate, is Mrs. Dirt Biker. Mrs. Dirt Biker.
Yay! Congratulations, Mrs. Dirt Biker. All you have to do is send your name and your email address to info@ginakdesigns.com, and we will get a digital $15 gift card out to you that you can spend whenever you want. Now, one more reminder, our new release is coming up next Tuesday night. We're going to have our illustrators here. We're going to be sharing a bunch of projects and a brand new card kit, as well as all of our background stamps are coming back in clear, and we have 2 brand new background stamps coming, so that's exciting. And then some of you have been asking how come I haven't been doing 5-minute cards on the weekends. You know, I've just been using the weekends to spend some time with family, and it's been really nice. I hope to get back to those soon, but with our weather coming this weekend, I don't think there's going to be one this weekend, but I will try to share a little YouTube short on YouTube and also on Instagram, so you can check that out. All right, everybody. Well, this was so much fun. Thank you all so much for being here. Tom and I'll be back next Tuesday night, and we hope you will too. In the meantime, stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much, and well, we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.